Welcome to the Sheff United Way. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you haven't done it yet, only takes a few seconds. It's a rarity. It's Hal, that's me, and Nick back once again like Renegade Masters. It's been ages since we did a video together. Here we are with championship predictions for season 2024-25. We're going to go bottom to top. If you disagree, pop your thoughts in the comments. Nick, how are you?
I'm very good, and I'm very happy for us to be back in the Championship. I really am. I feel like every team that gets relegated from the Premier League says, so glad to be back in the Championship.
As mentioned, we'll start bottom to top, and beginning with 24th place, maybe not a surprise to many, I'm going with Plymouth Argyle. Michael Cooper, the keeper, could leave at time of recording. He hasn't. They've lost Miller, Burton, Wright, and 𝐍𝐨𝐵𝐵𝐲 loan has ended. So far, Plymouth have not spent any money in transfer fees, bringing in 2 free transfers in 𝗬𝗱𝗃𝗂 and 𝗍𝗏𝗃. I don't know enough about them to form an opinion, but the rest have just been loans. Not sure I believe Wayne Rooney is the man for this challenge. Rock bottom, Rooney gone by Christmas.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. I hope they've got something in the contract that means that they don't have to pay Rooney an absolute bomb, because Rooney's just been bombing every single managerial position that he's had. I don't know why. It's such a random place for Rooney to go, Plymouth as well. It's so far down south. Random hiring. I'm gone for 24th as well, Plymouth. I quite like Plymouth, to be fair. I think they did well last season to stay up. I don't agree with Rooney, and I expect him to get another relegation on his CV.
Nick, who are you going with for 23rd in the Championship?
Oh, I don't want to do this, but it's Oxford for me. It's going to be a difficult season for them. Usually, that team that comes up that you expect, probably normally, unless it's a big team, it's the team that wins the playoffs, and normally the team that everybody expects to finish 24th. But Wayne Rooney trumps that.
Yeah, same. Oxford losing Josh Murphy, not helpful. Jack Curry from Wimbledon won't be enough. 23rd, and I'll jump straight into 22nd. Might be a surprise to some, but I've gone with Blackburn Rovers. And Sammy Smodic, if he stays, good
He's
player.
not
If he
staying.
leaves, well, of course,
God.
if he leaves, which I think he will, they will be in big trouble. I think they will be in relegation bother. But maybe, exactly. I mean, you could say to me they'll survive, and you could probably twist my arm, because I like John Eustace, but the quality isn't there in the squad. Rovers fans that I've spoken to seem fairly down on the owners and their refusal to properly invest in the squad. So, tough times ahead.
I think it just depends whether they get the money that, like, at time of recording, Smodic hasn't gone yet, but it's highly likely by the time this video's gone out, he's gone. But definitely before the end of the window, I think Smodic will be gone. That's probably 7 to 10 million that they're going to get for Smodic. Depends by the time that the window shuts. If they've reinvested that, who knows? But I've not gone for Blackburn. I've gone 22nd place, Derby County. I think that Paul Warne's stock has fallen since leaving Rotherham. I thought he kept doing really well with not a lot of resources. At Derby, he's had a lot of resources, and I know he's got promoted. I feel like I don't know. I feel like they'll just go straight back down. I don't think Paul Warne's necessarily somebody that does well in the Championship. And they've bought in Ben Osborne. There's no point in me bad-mouthing Ben Osborne now.
That's enough. They'll be fine.
Sorry. But they've also brought in Jerry Yates on loan. Jerry Yates hasn't done anything for a few seasons. I don't think it's enough. I think Derby's going down.
Let's look at 18th to 21st position now. In 21st, Nick, what do you think?
Blackburn. Already spoken about it. I think they're going to finish 21st, just staying up.
I kind of flirted between Blackburn and this team for relegation, and it might be a real surprise to some because I put them so lowly, and they're always in the Championship. But Preston North End.
Oh, no.
I know. Well, the reason, terrible pre-season, not a great end to last season, losing some of their better players. Ryan Lowe ain't the guy. I'm sorry, he isn't. Alan Brown, a big loss. They need more signings, and in my opinion, quite a few of them. I can't see this being anything but a really poor season for PNE.
I don't think that the Preston fans think that Alan Brown is a big loss. I think it's one of them where you've convinced yourself that you don't need him anymore. But he is going to be a big loss, and it is a big plus the Sunderland. I have gone for Preston. I think you could probably guess where I've gone, Preston, just for a bit of balance.
You've said mid-table, haven't you? So like 11th or 12th.
Let's move on.
All right, fine.
I need to
20th.
say mine first. My 20th is Watford. Watford are
Okay.
not a big team anymore. They're not a big club. They're not a team that should be in the Premier League or anywhere near it. And they've shown that in the last few years. They've got an inexperienced manager, even though the second tier podcast thinks that he's way, way, way better than Chris Wilder. He's been manager of a football club for 9 games. I don't think they'll go down, as I've just put. There's been a couple of decent signings, but it's just not enough for me. They've lost the parachute payments. The only way is down for Watford in my eyes.
All right, we're starting to disagree now. When you're looking at our different tables, in 20th for me, I've got Portsmouth.
Oh,
which means you've got them higher. And John Mousinho, good manager, did a magnificent job last season. They are back in the Championship and they deserve to be here. I can see them staying up. I like the addition of Josh Murphy. Goalkeeper Jordan Archer provides good competition. Jordan Williams, decent defender. They may surprise a few, but 20th is my shout. And Colby Bishop, the striker, he is that guy. 19th position, I'm going to roll straight on with this one. Derby County for me. Promoted side, you've mentioned Paul Warne. I think he's a really good guy. I like him as a person, like the way he talks. They've lost Sibley. Conor Hourihane has gone. Derby are a side that should be, in my opinion, in the top league or Championship minimum. But that doesn't come into our thinking here, and it can't come into our thinking here. They could easily shock me, go on a bit of a run, or I could believe that they get into serious relegation battle, which is why I've said 19th.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like all 3 teams that come up every season, they could have a little purple patch at the start or in the middle where it's just kind of like it's a Sheff United of 17, 18, or even like an Ipswich from last season where like you come up
an Ipswich this season.
Flying.
Nick hasn't mentioned Portsmouth yet.
No, they're not. No. They're not going to do an Ipswich. But what I'm trying to say is quite often a team that goes up from League One to the Championship are just on that high and they just fly. Sunderland did it. You didn't believe me. Sunderland did it. Sunderland did it. You said that they were going to finish near the bottom. They did not. They proved me right. There will be one of these 3 teams that's gone up. Let me finish. One of these 3 teams that's gone up will do that. One of these 3 teams will finish in the top 12, if not 10. And it could be any of them.
Yeah, I think our Sunderland argument was that I thought they wouldn't get promotion again. And that's been...
Definitely did not say that. That definitely was not the conversation that we had.
Anyway, who are you going with at 19th?
At 19th, I've gone for Millwall.
No, you are... You know what you're reading? You've bought the Beano Annual. They are going to have a good season.
We'll come back to this. Eventually. But I think they've gone well the last few seasons. But eventually... when you go and come so close, eventually standards drop. I think they will finish a lot lower than what people expect them to.
Absolutely no chance. You are reading Gulliver's Travels if you think Millwall are finishing in 19th. We said we'd do 21st to 18th, so 18th position. Nick?
My 18th position is Swansea City. I expect Swansea to struggle. I'm not going to lie. They've made a couple of interesting signings for money, but there's just not enough to make me think that they're even going to finish mid-table. I'm never really a big fan of Swansea. They don't ever excite me.
They've never excited you. That Mitchell season, that excited everyone.
All right, they've never excited me in the Championship since they've been relegated. We're talking about the Championship, right?
About. No, well, Scott Sinclair in the Championship
was very... Championship.
Scott Sinclair, then, I'll give you him. He was very exciting in the Championship.
Okay.
All right. I've also gone with the Welsh side in 18th place. You know who it is? Cardiff City.
Oh, no, wait.
Not yet. Wait till next season. Cardiff City, yeah. Callum Chambers, a good addition. So is Willock, but I just don't know where the goals come from. So that is why I've said Cardiff in 18th. All right, mid-table. So I think we can call 17th mid-table, maybe. Swansea for me, so I've got them right next to their rivals and actually very close to what you said. I mean, they were 14th last time round.
Who do you think I've gone for?
Cardiff.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Love it.
Well, you know what? There's still enough difference here that we've not cheated, we've not looked at each other's. But Luke Williams, the gaffer, not sure he'll make much of a difference. I can see Swansea dropping from last season. So you've gone with Cardiff for 17th.
Yeah, I just think that's hilarious because it's almost like we've done it on purpose to keep the Welsh fans happy. It's a bit of fun, isn't it, Hal? It's a bit of fun.
It's just a bit of fun. If you disagree, write all the vitriol and all the horrible things in the comments because you might think that hurts us. It actually helps the algorithm.
And hurts us.
And hurts us. Well, I don't read them. So 16th place, what are you saying?
16th player. Checks notes. QPR.
Good. And some thorough feedback and research done there.
I will say, good manager, had a huge impact last season and took them from doomed to very comfortable safety. Lost a creative player in Chris Willock, but his injuries had possibly caught up with him. Anyway, move on.
That was very good. Who wrote that?
I wrote that. Thank you very much. I did my research. I did my research about a week ago when we agreed to do this video, and yeah, I've forgotten what the research was.
So I've gone with Stoke City in 16th. Got money, but they don't spend well. Mid-table is probably the end result. Lack of goal threat. I mean, their top scorer last season was 𝗍𝗍𝗂𝗏, Andre 𝗍𝗍𝗂𝗏, the Portuguese player, and he only scored 6 goals. So I think Stoke, again, it's going to be because of the lack of goals that they will be in 16th. We jump to 15th. Nick?
Stoke. I think Stoke will do slightly better. Obviously, Victor Johansson is a big signing. He is a very, very, very good goalkeeper. Also, the manager did really, really well at Plymouth. He's good, but it's Stoke. It's Stoke, isn't it? It's a hard job. Like, nobody seems to do well at Stoke other than Big Tony Pulis.
Big Tony Pulis checks notes, 5'9". All right.
Great height for a man.
It is a great height for a man. You've got to have a catchphrase in this business. 15th place, Watford. So parachute payments have run out. Is Tom Cleverley the guy? Not sure.
He's not the guy.
Mid-table again, as they finished 15th last season, 15th again. They lost 16 games last season. Pre-season as well. This season has been interesting, including a 6-1 hammering against Fulham.
I've already spoken about them, so I'm going to say Bristol City for 14th place. They are Mr. 13th place usually, and Preston are Mr. 12th place. But I've gone for them a little bit lower. I don't really know what to say about them. I just feel like they've always got ambitions, but they never seem to finish any higher than mid-table. Nothing that I've seen in their transfer dealings has made me think that they're going to finish any higher. I'm not too excited for their season. Hopefully, Bristol City fans don't watch this and give me a hammering. But yeah, Bristol City are Mr. Mid-table.
I'm not too far away with my prediction for Bristol City, but 14th place is what we're talking about. And I've gone with Sunderland. And you know I never really back Sunderland, perhaps I should, but Sunderland business has been slow. Poveda is decent, and he rejected Wednesday, so I rate him. Alan Brown, we've already mentioned Alan Brown, is good.
Have we seen each other's scripts here? Because I literally wrote the exact same thing about Ian Poveda.
You? Yeah. Oh, love that. Absolutely love that. But anyway, I don't think Brown is going to be enough. However, if they do some late business, that obviously could change my opinion. You said that Bristol City were Mr. 13th. Well, I've got Bristol City in 13th, one of the most championship sides. A solid team, but like Nick quite rightly says, mid-table. I will say Liam Manning is a manager I rate. I like their transfers, unlike you. I think Sinclair Armstrong is very good. 𝗍𝗂𝗏, I loved his tweet about he will do his best for Bristol City. Love that. And
that means he's a good player.
No, it just means he's a nice guy.
I'll do my best.
I'll do my best, and that's what I want every player to say. And 𝗍𝗂𝗏 is a player, I started to look at the stats for him, and I thought, God, that is the kind of player I wish we'd been looking at. So they could actually be a little bit of a surprise, but I've gone with them in 13th.
In 13th, I've gone for the Pigs.
Have you?
The Piggies. Sheffield Wednesday, for those not born or don't understand the rivalry between Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. I think they've done okay business. I'll be honest. I think they've bought a lot of players or brought in a lot of players that are championship standard, but a lot of Preston players, you could say. A lot of mid-table players. a lot of Max Lowe, for instance, the signing from us, massively just average in the Championship. He's there. He's just there, which I've said in the past. Max Lowe is just there. But yeah, a lot of half decent players. They've got a really good manager, in my opinion. However, this is the big season for him. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Danny Röhl this season because everyone's expecting this brilliant season. And if it's anything other than 6th to 12th, I think everybody will see it as a bad season for them. But I've gone for 13th, which is just outside that.
Let's look at top 12. In 12th place, who've you got?
In 12th place, I've gone for Preston. I'll be honest, I went for Preston in 12th place for a bit of a gag. But I think there's a chance that they might finish slightly higher. And I think they'll bring in transfers before the end of the window that will be difference makers.
Okay, well, obviously we're recording this before all the transfer dealings are done. We wanted to get this video out for you nice and early. Transfers change everything, but at the moment, I am really not convinced that Preston are going to do
transfers
anything
transfers still happen right up until the end of the window. There's games that have been played, and it's happened loads of times for us where we've brought in really good players that we didn't expect to bring in after a ball's been kicked. So we'll have to wait and see on Preston.
Yeah, personally, I'm against that. I think the transfer window should close before a ball has been kicked. Speaking of a team that haven't really done any transfer business, it's actually where I'm going to go for my 12th position. It's Norwich City, who have only for money brought in 𝗍𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗏 from 𝗍𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗏 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗏. I know nothing about him, but just looking at it, doesn't look like enough. So I've said 12th, Norwich City.
I don't disagree with that. However, obviously I've got Norwich City higher, but I don't disagree with what you just said. Looking at their transfer dealings, I feel like they could have done a lot more. But like what we've just said, there's still time. There's still time.
Number 11, Nick.
I've gone for Sunderland.
Okay.
And do you want me to read exactly what I wrote? I'm a fan of Alan Brown and I'm a fan of 𝗍𝗿𝗂𝗂𝗏. Now he's rejected Wednesday. That's exactly what I wrote.
I've gone in 11th, QPR. Liam Morrison could be very useful, but this prediction is based not on their squad, but on their manager. And I always pronounce his name wrong, but Cifuentes, who I really like. I expect them to be better than last season when they finished 18th. Gareth Ainsworth is gone. This can only be a good thing. He should be nowhere near professional football.
Absolutely agree, mate. Get rid of him. Get his long hair out of the game. Cut his hair. Don't mean anything that at all.
No, it doesn't really mean. Where are you taking this next, Nick?
10th place, I've gone for Hull. They've lost their top 10 scorers from last season. New unproven manager, and for potential for them to really implode. However, I think that the owner will throw enough money at it to keep them in that sort of top half. But I don't think they're going to be flirting with the playoffs.
All right. I've gone with Hull a little bit higher because in 10th place, I've gone with Sheffield Wednesday, who, as we know, finished 20th last season. Danny Röhl, we've got it. We've already mentioned him. He's a good gaffer. Lots more excitement around the sty this time around. Second half of last season, a complete turnaround. I can see them actually finishing in the top 10 despite Reece James and massive Blades fan Lee Gregory leaving. They have Max Lowe, which is just kind of meh. Jamal Lowe, which is another player called Lowe. 𝗟𝗏𝗏. How Ingelsson and 𝗍𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗏 settle, I think, could be crucial to whether they actually have a playoff push. But I've gone with them in 10th. And in 9th, you've already mentioned them, so I'll just say Hull City. And you're right, losing Liam Delap, Greaves to Ipswich, I think is big blow. Philogene to Villa. But I like Ryan Giles, the left-back. Good acquisition. But letting Rossigna go, was that the right call? Well, the thing is, we don't actually know because Tim Walter, the German manager, comes in. Not sure about how long it'll take him to get up to speed with this squad and the Championship. So for that reason, I think a slow start ultimately just costs them the playoffs. But I could easily be swayed into placing them higher because I like the rest of the squad. We just simply don't know what Tim Walter in the Championship is like. Nick, what about your thoughts?
I think I've made a mistake here in 9th place.
What have you done?
But I will caveat this with one of those three teams that's got promoted to the Championship will finish high up. I've gone for Portsmouth in 9th place.
I mean, that is just bizarre. Maybe the crest of a wave thing you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I think they've got a really good support. It's a club that spent a lot of years in the Premier League with a lot of good players.
Counts for nothing.
It does count for nothing, but at the same time, it counts for a lot.
No, it doesn't. You know what you've done here? You've not gone with facts. You've gone with vibes.
Yeah, exactly. They've got some good attackers, and I think they're solid at the back. And I think sometimes that crest of a wave is just a thing. It's a thing, Hal. A lot of people are going to be angry with me about this one. I've gone for Middlesbrough, finishing 8th. And I'm going for Michael Carrick getting the sack either midway to 3/4 of the season and or end of the season. I don't think Michael Carrick is the manager of Borough next season. I think they've got worse and worse, and I think next season... A lot of people are saying they're going to finish top 2. I absolutely do not believe that one little bit. I don't think they've done enough for me to warrant them up there with the big boys who've got a load of money. They've no parachute payments. They've got nothing like that. They've not been in the Premier League for such a long time. I don't think they can rub shoulders with us, Luton, Burnley, etc.
All right, I'll get to my thoughts on Middlesbrough soon in 8th place. West Bromwich Albion, Carlos Corberán, I think he's very good at his job. Last season, they made it into the playoffs. Good side, but in my opinion, player for player, not a great side. Carlos makes them, though, a real contender. Joel Wildsmith, Paddy McNair, Diakate, a top addition. Thomas Asante, I suspect, will leave, and that means I'm saying 8th place.
7th place, I've gone for Norwich.
It's going to get really interesting when we get to the top 6. I've got one more to go before we're there. 7th place, this is the one we've really disagreed on today. I think it's going to be Millwall. And the reason I've said this, Langstaff from Notts County, goals.
No.
I think he'll be able to take it up.
That's what you're hanging your hat on? Langstaff?
No, I've got more. Tanganga, who they've also brought in. I really like that signing. Lucas Jensen, Fleming, still there. Good player. I like Kevin Nisbet. Tom Bradshaw. They've got goals in this side. Also, on a serious note, tragic loss in the goalkeeper Sarkic. For him, I think it would be wonderful to see the side do well. They finished 13th last season. Neil Harris knows the club so well. They didn't start well last time round. They finished strong. They will continue in that vein, I believe, this time around. But I've gone with 7th place, Millwall, and we'll go to the top 6. 6th place, I've gone with Coventry City.
We can agree on that.
Oh, good. We've both gone with 6th place Coventry.
Yeah.
All right. Lewis Binks, Rafael Borges, Jack Rodoni, Mason Clark. I really like Ben Sheaf. Mark Robbins, such an underrated manager. I can see them making the playoffs. They've lost Callum Ware, of course, we know that. But I see them starting well. Keeper was a trouble area. They've sorted that now with Swedish international Oliver Dovin. Wright, Sims, Sakamoto are still there. They're all key. They'll finish higher than last season's 9th. Nick, 6th place.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I don't know how they keep replacing really good players with really good players, but they're doing it. They've got a really good manager in Mark Robbins. There's a bit of needle between the Blades and Coventry with kind of Gus Harmer, Callum O'Hare. And yeah, imagine if we get them in the playoffs. That would be very, very tasty. But we're going to have to play them twice before that anyway, so it'll be tasty anyway. But yeah, I expect them to go well again. Like you said, Ben Sheaf, big fan. I'm surprised he's not gone, to be honest. I'm surprised somebody's not come in for him. Yeah, obviously, yet. People might be still watching this right until the start of the season, and he might have gone by then. But yeah, very, very good player. It'll be a big loss if they lose him right before the start of the season as well.
We've got a disagreement in place next because I know we haven't gone with the same team because you've already mentioned them. 5th place, I've gone with Middlesbrough. I think they make the playoffs. Manager Michael Carrick, another season older and wiser. Now, the thing is, he has to do well And he knows it. This will be his season. And I think they start well with Ivorian striker 𝗬𝗏𝗏, who has a great name, 25 years old. He got 16 goals in just 30 games last season. And now he knows the championship. So in my opinion, he'll bag a lot. And it'll be enough to fire them to the playoffs. Nick, who's your 5th place team?
I'm trying to work out whether we've done the exact opposite of 5th and 8th, because I went for Borough in 8th. I've gone for West Brom in 5th.
Yes, we have.
Did you go West Brom in 8th?
I did. We've swapped, yeah.
Oh, well. I think Carlos Corberán is a very experienced manager, and he can get the most out of these players. It's tough. It's really tough. Because again, just like Norwich, I thought West Brom were poor in the playoff semi-final last season. I really did. I expected more from them, but they've signed the Swedish centre-back, Paddy McNair as well. I expected Paddy McNair to be playing football in a red and white shirt and not a blue and white shirt next season. Signing for the Blades, obviously. It's a Sheff United channel. I think they'll be just as good as last season. Luton Town I've gone for in 4th place. Up to now, I know they've got a really settled, good squad, strong squad. Carlton Morris, obviously, spearheads the attack. And there's not many better strikers in the Championship than Carlton Morris, or will be this season. They've lost Gabriel Osho, they've lost Luke Berry, they've lost Fred Onyedema. That's 3 players that got them promoted. I'm not saying that they started every single game, but that's 3 of those core players. I like to think of like an Egan, Basham. No, do you know, like players that they used to, all the fans are used to, they know what they're going to get out of them. They don't have them for next season. And they've not really added too many new faces to the squad. Not many exciting faces anyway. I think they'll be good. I don't think they'll be as good as what people expect. Good manager, really good manager, don't get me wrong. They will be there or thereabouts. And Rob Edwards will be the manager for a long time, in my opinion, of Luton, unless they finish, in the bottom 6 this season, which will never happen. I think they'll do well. I think they'll finish in the playoffs. They might even go up in the playoffs, but I don't think they'll finish top 2.
4th for me, might be a bit of a surprise to many. I've actually gone with Leeds United. Now, they finished 3rd last season, right? They have some good incomings, but not so much outgoings yet. But I believe the outgoings will happen. I think Notto and Somerville, for example. Gray has already gone. He was crucial. Bogle arrives, okay, Rodon, keeper Cairns, and Rothwell. Are these enough? I think the expectation after failing to go up with 90 points last season will weigh heavy on the minds. The fans will expect. And it only takes a slow start to change everything at Ellen Road. I can see this being another ultimately fruitless search for promotion. 4th place. Sorry, Leeds fans. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. 3rd place, I've gone
I hope you're right, Hal. I hope you're right about Leeds.
Well, you might not, because the 3rd place team I've gone with is Sheffield United, which could mean, of course, we would face Leeds in a very tasty playoff. But yeah, I've said the Blades for 3rd place. Nick, who have you gone with for 3rd?
I've gone for the Blades as well.
I thought you would.
I've gone for the Blades.
There we are.
I don't quite think I think I'd said 3rd season before last as well.
You did, yeah.
I right now, against Rotherham, the last game we played was against Rotherham. The first half, we looked so strong with that first 11. The second half, we brought a few kids on, a few squad players, and we did not look the same team. So that's my worry, that we've not got the strength in depth. However, we've still got a long way to go in this transfer window. We know Ollie did a video on it. He said we needed, I think it was 14 or 15 players. We've probably brought in 5 or 6 right now, off the top of my head. We've still got quite a few players to bring in. We might not sell the players that we're expected to sell, which is exciting to think that we could have an 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 and we could have Vinny Souza. It's looking likely that he probably would leave. But it could be a really, really strong first 11, and I expect the strong first 11 could be one of the best, if not the best in the league. However, strength in depth worries me, and I think we'll finish 3rd.
Let us know in the comments, Blades fans, where we're going to finish. Second place, let's get straight to the two that are finishing with automatic promotion. I've gone with Burnley, with Scott Parker as manager, because he's had Bournemouth and Fulham success before. The start will be crucial, but if they start well, I believe they kick on. Of course, parachute payments are there. If they need to add in January and it's not quite working, they will. We know about Sander Berge. I like Brownhill, 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂. They'll go up automatically. What do you think, second place?
Same. I've gone with Burnley as
All right.
well. I've gone with Burnley as well because of everything you've just said. I think Sander Berge might leave, if I'm honest. I don't think he's in it for the long run with Burnley. I think his heart was there with the Blades. Don't think it's quite there with Burnley. However, it's not all about Sander Berge. I think it's mostly about Scott Parker. And I think if Scott Parker can get them singing off the same hymn sheet, they'll just fly up. However, Scott Parker always seems to get teams with parachute payments and really good squads. And he's got that again. And he just keeps getting that. And I get why they brought him in because of that exact reason. They've got the parachute payments and they've got a good squad. I don't think they will play anywhere near the same as what Vinny Company did with them. I think if Vinny Company was the manager, I'd have them as first. They could easily finish mid-table as well with Scott Parker. I think it's just on a knife edge. How they start as well will be big for them. I think they will finish second. I think they will go up. But it's just a bit of a toss of the coin with Scott Parker for me.
All right, people have probably worked it out. Who have you gone with for top spot?
People will have worked it out, obviously, because I've not said this team yet. But also, I took my headset off when you started rambling on about them finishing fourth or wherever you did. Leeds United will run away with... I hate to think this, but they will run away with the league. If they can keep Somerville, they will run away with it so hard and so fast, because the problem with Leeds last season is they had a really bad start under Farke. I can't see that happening again. Farke has been there and done it. He has won more promotions to the Premier League than any other manager in this division right now. So, in my opinion, I think they will do it. Archie Gray, 40-odd million, they got him for him. Sinisterra, they got 23 million for him. But, Hal, because I was thinking, that's going to offset everything that they've done previously. They've bought players for a hell of a lot of money, eye-watering money, and sold players for eye-watering money. I don't know if they're in deficit, if they're... I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how much money right now they are in debt or not in debt, but it's scary. The amount of money that they're throwing about is scary. So I don't know if they have to keep selling players. We'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, this squad is scary. Roden, I think he'll just carry on where he left off last season with Ampadu at the back. I think they will be... Theirs is the strongest squad by far.
Yeah, well, maybe Ampadu will revert to the Ampadu we saw, and it could be a very, very... very different situation.
I thought you were going to say Amper something else then.
All right, you might become Amper Poo. I would never say that, Nick. I'm better than that, and we all know that. You've obviously been able to work out who my top spot is. Luton Town, they just know the Championship. They know how to play, good recruitment system, well-run club, a model that I think a lot of teams, if they want to aspire to do well and to follow that kind of roadmap, would want to achieve. Then you look at what Luton have done, lesser budget, and crucially for me, I believe in Rob Edwards. He is a top manager. Boy, is he handsome. Core of the team remains, sensible approach, team already gelled, and because they haven't brought too many in, that won't upset that or unsettle anything there. Okay, they've lost Ryan Giles and Ross Barkley. I think if they kept Ross Barkley, they'd be an even stronger side, but they'll still be really good because Adebayo and Morris will get goals. Luton will win the Championship. It might not be pretty, it might be a bit agricultural, but they'll get the job done. That's what we've gone with. Let us know in the comments how much you disagree. Leeds fans, let us know how offline I was and how much you now love Nick.